Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I've been thinking about the topic of change a lot. I've been reflecting on how my life has changed for the better, and certain ways how my life changing for the better has also put me in a form of isolation towards other people. I feel like as I learn more about myself in this constantly evolving world, this constantly changing world, I kind of crawl back into my shell, and I'm afraid to take chances. I'm afraid to do things that I know could be beneficial, but I'm afraid to step outside of my comfort zone. I know there's a lot of people that can probably relate to that, and technology has obviously made it 10 times more difficult to be truly authentic with what you want to say, what you want to do in a world that is constantly changing through technology. I'm sure anybody else can probably relate to what I'm about to say, but there are times where I can find it easier to say things to somebody online over a text message, um, through any form of social media than I could face to face in person or even on the phone. Hearing their voice, it's almost sheltered me in this pod that I can't escape. I was talking to a friend who was telling me that, he's older than me, so he's telling me a lot of wise tips to take into account into my life. And a lot of the things he says are beneficial because he's been through the ringer in life and he knows just what it's like to go through certain scenarios. So I started telling him about, different dreams I have, different goals I aspire to have in my life, and then different things that I haven't achieved yet that I wish I could have achieved, but I haven't made it that far yet. His answer to me was very, very deep for me personally, because what he said was, why don't you go and take more chances? Why don't you go and talk to more people? Why don't you just go and start talking to random people whenever you get the opportunity to maybe learn new things or maybe form a new connection that you otherwise would not have formed? I don't know about you, but when I hear something like that, it scares me. I'm an incredible introvert. I get along with the people that I do associate with very well. I can speak very fluently, and I can be truly authentic towards the people that are in my immediate circle and that I care for deeply. But forming those connections with people outside of my personal realm of life has always been tricky, but even more so now that I'm trying to make an effort to be more social, to be more outgoing. I don't think it's something that anyone should be ashamed of if you do feel the same way and if you do go through the same experiences. I think that this is the time more so in life than ever that we should act on our fears. We should act on what scares us. We should act on something that we never thought we would. And for me, it's something as small as going out and meeting new people, being too afraid to talk to strangers or just take part in things that I feel like I wouldn't feel comfortable being a part of. I've always been deeply, deeply caring for anybody outside of my own circle. I care about humanity as a whole. But expression is something that I struggle with day in and day out. I'm not always good at expression. I'm not always good at saying what I mean. I'm not always good at being able to open my mouth and speak what's in here. And a lot of that is because the way I communicate has been so flawed. I think today is probably the best day out of any day to just step outside of your comfort zone. Go do something that otherwise you wouldn't do. And I'm making this video in hopes that it can help somebody else, but also I'm making this video as an essay for myself, and to remember that I am deeply flawed and I do have character defects, but that is okay as a human being. I feel like a part of growth is understanding and recognizing your character defects and being able to accept the fact that that is just you, that is truly and authentically you. but being willing to change certain things to be able to grow and to get where you want to be. If I walk around and pretend that there's things that I don't want to change about myself or my life, then I'd be straight up lying. Then I would continue to be disappointed in the outcome of certain areas of my life. And like I said, while I am extremely grateful for a lot of immediate wins and victories in my life, especially after recovering from some dark mental health struggles in the past, there's still room for improvement. There's still room for growth. And I think there's no better time in life than to take that chance of growth than the very moment right now. It can be tricky, it can be hard, it can be confusing, it can be scary. But I feel like that's what makes life so fun. It makes life so different every day, is if we're willing to take the chances that maybe we otherwise wouldn't. I'm not saying this video will be a push for anyone, but I hope maybe the right person could hear this message and it could maybe open your eyes to the potential that lives within you to reach any height that you dreamt of for so long, because it's right there. But we truly are the #1 opponent for ourselves. I know I am. I stop myself at almost everything. Today, I would really advise you, I would urge you to go do something that you are afraid to do, that you want to do, but you are afraid to do. I guarantee you, by the end of doing what you have always thought of doing, you'll feel so accomplished. And it'll feel like a great victory, because it is. We're not always going to be 100% every day. We're not always going to have the most social days. We're not always going to feel the most social. It's okay to have lone wolf days, to be lonely, to do what you love to do alone. But there is room for change. There is room for growth. And a part of change is very scary. And I think that's important. Without fear, we can't make it to the next step of our journey in our life. So hopefully you can join me in whatever the next stage of life is, as we continue the journey towards growth and harmony in our immediate lives.